Hi everyone, before we get into this week's episode, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our lovely friend Holly Matthews. You may have seen her on Lorraine last week, which was very exciting, but she's bringing her Be Weird live event to Newcastle very soon. It's next weekend. I'm going to be there with my fragrance business, and honestly, it's such a great day. You're going to leave feeling so positive and inspired. So if you want to come along, check out Holly's link in our bio on our Instagram page at I am Holly Matthews. It's got all of the event details there, location, ticket details, so please check that out. But now on to this week's episode, and it's another lovely chat with a lady called Gina Trick. Now Gina is an online business and AI strategist whose northeast roots stretch from a little village near Hexham all the way to our home in North Gosforth, where she lives now. And we talk all about her journey from flipping houses, managing hotels, to even building a thriving online business. Gina's story is all about carving your own path, following your gut, following your passion, which I just love. We talk about the ups and the downs of self-employment, how to use AI in a way that actually feels and sounds human. She's even trained hers to speak Geordie, which I find fascinating. There's plenty of laughs. There's a little bit of Newcastle United gossip as well if you stick around to the very end, and we have a great chat about that northeast work ethic as well that I think we all know about. So grab a cuppa, settle in and dive into this week's episode with Gina Trick. Enjoy. You're listening to Geordie Pride, Voices from the Northeast. I'm Hayley, and alongside my cousin Angela, we're thrilled to bring you the stories that share the heart and soul of the northeast of England. Each episode, we'll dive into the lives of extraordinary Geordies and those who call the northeast home, exploring their journeys and celebrating their achievements. From the time to the teas, from the arts to the sports fields, we're here to share the tales of passion, resilience, and of course, Geordie Pride. So whether you're from Whitley Bay or Washington, Gateshead or Gisborough, or you're just fascinated by the spirit of the Northeast, join us as we natter with the best the Northeast has to offer. Hi Gina, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do and where you're from in the Northeast?
So I am Gina Trick. I'm an online business and AI strategist. And I've lived all over the Northeast. I'm a bit of a mover. So originally from Humshoff, if anybody recognises that, just north of Hexham. So grew up there. And I have lived in Tynemouth, North Shields, Washington, Stanley, and currently I'm in North Gosforth. So bit of a wander via Essex and Nottingham as well. So yeah. All over the place.
What's been with all the moving? Do you just is it different jobs that got you going, or do you just not like staying in one place for one amount of time?
Oh God, my family will just tell you that I get bored. But so just different things like jobs. My husband's jobs have moved. We're doing up houses. We've flipped a couple of houses and done them up and then sold them and moved. Yeah, I kind of I think because I grew up in one house and spent 20 odd years in one house. And I think I probably must have got bored just living in one.
Bit of trauma.
But we kind of get to a certain point. We've done as much as we can to a house, and then we're like, "Oh, should we move?" It's really bad.
You decorated each of the rooms, so you just think, "Well, what do we do now? I'm a bit bored."
My husband's just literally built a garden office. He got it, he ordered it, and it came in 300 bits, and I'm not even joking. It's the biggest jigsaw you've ever seen in your life, and he's just built that, and now he's like, "What do I do now?"
Oh yes, I want a garden office. I've got quite a big garden and I don't do anything with it. I can't garden for the life of me. I can't keep all the plants I've got in the house are plastic. Can't keep anything living. Well, my children are all right, and me dogs and me cat. I'm all right with them, but probably because I'm forced to. But yeah, plants I just can't get away with. But I would like to just at least put a garden office in my garden, so at least I've got something in there rather than just a mound of grass, which is slowly getting higher and higher.
I would just say get somebody to build it for you, because oh my God, it was a job and a half. He reckoned he'd get it done in kind of a weekend, It took him 5 weekends. I was
Oh
just like
no.
sick of my life and he's like, I just want to do this. And it's not like he's got solar panels for it and all sorts, man. I'm just like, oh my God.
God.
I was just
You can come round mine again.
oh, it's like it's a proper man cave, but he works at home as well, so it's where he works from now. But he wanted somewhere to go instead of being in the house. So I was just like, all right, okay, let him do it.
Yeah.
Get out of your hair anyway. So Gina, tell us a little bit about what you do for a living.
So, like I say, online business and AI strategist, and loads of people will just be like, what? Or bored, yawn. But basically, I started my very first business 20 years ago this year, which makes me feel like so old, it's unreal. And I've had different businesses like over the last 20 years, but 7 years ago is when I became like a coach, I said. But I don't really like the word coach because people like, do you know what I mean? They expect you just to ask them loads of questions, whereas I was like helping people more find sort of the ways that works and stuff. So then I decided to like get my certification to be a strategist because I'm very logically minded. So I've always been like that. I'm very kind of, do you know what I mean? I like numbers, I like data, I like to kind of play with things and know how they work. And so I was like, a strategist definitely works best. So it's like for online service providers is who I work with. So if you think other coaches, VAs, like OBMs, like anybody that's got like a business that's online really, and I help them to figure out what will work for them. So loads of people, you know, when you see people advertising and they're going, oh, this is going to work. And if you buy this, it's like guaranteed that you'll make $5,000 every month and things. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that because every strategy works, but not every strategy works for every person. And like, so I kind of get to know people's like their personalities, their values, like what their strengths are, what they actually enjoy doing. Because what's the point in having a business if you don't enjoy it? And then what we do is we fit them to strategies rather than strategies that, you know what I mean? It's like, what will work for them, what they're going to enjoy. And then once we know that, we're bringing AI just to speed things up, to save them time. But it's always like a human first approach to AI. So I always go like all the back end stuff, things that like people won't notice whether you're doing it or not. That's where you bring AI in to speed things up and save your time and make things a lot easier. But you still keep those human touch points in your business because that's what differentiates every business now because everybody can use AI. So it's kind of bringing those two things together to make sure that they're building a business they actually enjoy and one that gives them what they want. Because everybody talks about like time freedom and, you know, having this lifestyle and things. But anybody that runs a business knows that, like, you know, you can work 90 hours a week and still not get everything done. So it's trying to get that balance. So so I've been doing that like for 7 years now. Obviously not with AI. AI's only been around for the last couple of years. But yeah, I really, really love it because you can just see like when you're working with people that are struggling and then suddenly have that like light bulb moment and breakthrough and they're like, oh my God, this is like, actually, I can do this, I can enjoy it. Like the difference is unreal. So that's it, basically in a nutshell.
I think it's like what you said there kind of rang true to me because I've been in the online business world for like since about 2018. That's when I became self-employed. And I think I wasted years doing exactly what you said. Like a bit of a, is it like the moth where you're going from one thing to
Shiny
the other?
object syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Oh, I could do that. I could do that. And then I would try and like I wasted so much time and money on these programs from people that promised all this stuff. And like now it's one of those things when I look back and I'm like, damn it, like if I only had known. But I think I think everyone who owns a business has to go through that stage of just trying lots of things and not necessarily getting anything from it. And I think that helps you realize what you want, what you don't. And I think it's like exactly what you said. You then realize that it's not a case of one strategy fits all. It's like you've got to work out what it is that's unique to you, why are you different, how do you want to do it. And like, because whatever works for Sandra down the road isn't necessarily going to work for you. So you've got to find that kind of niche that you like and that you want, because I aim to, and I know because Angela's self-employed as well, like I don't ever want to go back to being bloody employed. I want to stay here for a long time, and I've managed it for like about 8 years now. So hopefully I can keep it going, but you've got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like Why would you work for yourself if you're not going to enjoy it?
But loads of people, like, you see this like 5K month, 10K month, have a 6K, like, like a 6-figure business. And I'm like, not everybody wants that. And I get so sick of those prices being put everywhere. So I try really hard not to put figures on, because some people come to me and they're like, well, this was what my corporate wage was. If I can make that amount of money, but work 20, 25 hours a week instead, so I'm around, I can do the school runs, or, I can travel, whatever it is. Some of them, that's all they want. They're not after the big money. They're after just that time. Whereas other people will come to us and they're like, well, actually, at the minute, I'd love like £5,000 a month. That's what we can work to. When I'm there, I might want more. I might just be happy with that. And other people come to us and go, I really want that 7-figure business. And I'm like, everybody's different. And that's why, like, the strategies will be different depending on what we're aiming for. So like when somebody comes along and goes, this is going to solve your problem. And it's like, well, probably 50% of the people that sign up will finish the course if you're lucky. Because at the minute, if it's a evergreen course, it's more like 17%. If it's an actual, like, a turn up and live teaching course, it's anywhere between 40 and 50% of people will finish it. And then out of those, less than half of those it'll probably actually work for, because it won't align with how they work. Because when it's sold to them, it's all this shiny thing that's going to work. But actually, when you look at what's included, there's some of that stuff, what you're going to do, or you're actually going to follow through on it. So I actually wrote an AI prompt that I've been given to people to help them before buying a project, or like signing up to a course or working with somebody. They can use this prompt, stick in like either the sales page or the information about it, and it talks them through step by step whether it'll actually be right for them. And it asks them a question at a time to make sure, like, is it actually what they need at the minute? Is it going to work for them? Is it aligned with their goals, with their business strategy, like, and all of those? And honestly, people have been like, why the hell? And I'm like, this is what AI can do for you. But they're like, you've just saved me thousands, because I was going to sign up for this thing. And now I know
that years ago, I'd be a millionaire by now.
And you're just like, what? That's what a simple AI prompt. I'm saying simple. My prompts aren't simple. They're like War and Peace, but they have to be to do their job. But like, this is what I was saying. It's like, there's ways now to go around. So you're still going to make mistakes. Everybody does. And there's still going to be times you can sign up for things. But now, like, if you use AI in that way as a thought partner, they can actually get you to think rationally and get rid of that shiny object syndrome.
I think a lot of these ones that you see on social media and stuff, it's like, that's too good to be true. That, like, like these posting of envelopes and stuff, and all you've got to do is write and put addresses on these envelopes, and you will get 20,000 a week. It's like, no, you're not.
No. The thing is, unfortunately, people still fall for those scams. That's what's scary. Like, and the reason I came around with the prompts that I did, I've been doing like a training for people about using AI as a thought partner, is because early last year, I got ripped off by somebody. And I'm thinking, like, I was 19 years into business at that point. I did all my due diligence, like everything that I would tell people to do. So I signed up for something for free from the person. Then I did a low ticket offer with them to get to know them a bit, make sure that they were who they said, before I invested thousands. And then this person just disappeared with my money. And so I was just like, you can still get ripped off. So even ones that seem dead obvious to some people aren't obvious because they haven't been around. But like, I saw somebody today sending something out saying, if you pay like however much it was and buy this AI bot, all you have to do is answer the questions and you could make $2,000 this week. I was just like, wow. So you buy this bot, answer some questions, and you're going to make $2,000. I was like,
just suddenly appears in your bank account.
I was like, how the hell is that going to work? But this is what's going around still. And unfortunately, because the way that, like, obviously the economy and stuff is, people are desperate. And I think when you're in that state, you're not making the most rational decisions. I was like, decided, like, with my AI prompt, I wanted that to be something that people can have. Do you know what I mean? I don't charge for it. It's free. They can go and use it. And it means, like, before you pay anything, it's that kind of, like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you were going to go and ask somebody's advice, it's that sort of thing, but you've got that impartiality of AI who's basically asking you questions. They're just mirroring what you say back, but it's helping you to think through things. So, like, I was like, the amount of things where I see, like, flash sales, so people go, oh my God, I've got to jump in now, otherwise I'm going to miss it. It's like, do you know what? This AI prompt will take you 10 minutes. You've got 10 minutes to go and just do that. Like, or even if you don't use a prompt like what I've written, but you can go and speak to AI, do you know what I mean? And tell it and ask it and just have that little bit of thought before it. Because like, I'm so sick of the amount of people who are losing trust within the online business world because they've been ripped off because there's so many charlatans.
Like most of the people that I talk to and interact with now are like people who own their own online business, and it's a fair few people that I know. I would say at least 50% that went back into like normal work. Well, say normal workforce, but like in an employed role because they've been let down. And it's so sad in a way because it's not an easy thing to do, is it, to work for yourself? Like taking that step from going from a secure wage, pensions, things like that, to then being thrust into this world of not necessarily knowing how much money you're going to make every month, like trying to work out if you can pay your bills, like getting through that stage, and like building a business is sort of like when you're early on, you're doing everything yourself. And well, I'm still doing everything myself now. Like Angela helps us with things, but like it's like the majority of it's bloody hard work. And to then do all of that work and then end up going back into it because you made a couple of bad decisions is just so heartbreaking.
But it's like with everything, like, no, there's different people. Like I know people that have been ripped off by somebody that said they're a PR person. Do you know what I mean? So like it is different things, but it just seems to be coaches. There seems to be a lot more because it's easy to pop up as a coach. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can do a Udemy course for like £9 and then suddenly you're a coach for something.
But you don't need any qualifications. There's no regulation whatsoever in the industry. And like I got my like strategist certification more for the actual just saying, look, I've got a certification to say that I've done it. Like it sounds awful. I probably learned a little bit. I didn't learn loads, but it reinforced how much I did know. But then I thought, well, look, you know what I mean? I paid £2,000 to get this certification. So I can say, look, I've got a bit of paper. But I was at that point of going, I want people to know, you know, I've been around for a long time and I feel like it, but also, you know what I mean? As well as having multi-businesses that I've ran, one of which was a 7-figure business. Do you know what I mean? That I'm like, right, I've had all that experience. Also, I'm qualified to do this. So it's like, I'm not just like, some people pop up and they've never had a business and go, oh, I'll teach you how to run a business. And I'm like, can you? I'm going, and other people have had loads of business experience, but they don't know how to help other people and kind of support in the right way. So I was like, right, I want to show that I've got both here. Like there's a level of trust at that point of going, right, do you know what? She's got all of these things, all of these businesses she's done. And then now she's got that qualification. And then I can say to people, if you want to speak to any of my clients, you can, no problem. Because I think people need that level of reassurance.
Do you find, Gina, that it's like, is it more women that you help or men or a bit of both? Or
I work with all genders. I have just, as long as you're not a knob, that's it. I don't care about the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's whoever is kind of pulled into my way of doing things. Because like, I probably talk more feminine because obviously I'm a woman, but there's some men prefer my way of working than some of the, you know, the more bro marketers. Like, and I'm not saying all men are bro marketers, they're not, but that, you know, that sort of style of things. And some women prefer working with men anyways, but I like having a mix because I think like you learn so much from your clients. Like loads of people go, oh, but like, you know what I mean? You're teaching them. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm teaching them in what I know, but like I learn so much from them. And by having different people from different backgrounds, different cultures, like all that different knowledge that's made, it makes my life so much better because I love learning all those different things and they have all these different modalities. So then like they could come to me and say like, you know, I teach whatever it is and I've never heard of it and go, right, I'm going to learn about whatever you do now. So then I get to learn that as well. And I love to learn new stuff. Like so my past was in the wedding industry. So whenever it came to weddings, like if it was, you know, a different culture, I'd be like, right, tell us all about your culture. Tell us all about, because people would be like, oh, it's an Asian wedding. I'm like, oh my God, there's like 20 million different versions. Do you know what I mean? There's different cultures, there's different religions, there's different traditions. Like, I want to know all of this stuff. Whereas other people were just like, oh God, it's going to be hard work. I'm like, oh, let me in. Like, give me all the information. Like, let me learn, let me know. Because like I did 2 Bangladeshi weddings. One of which the bride spent the whole time smiling in the middle of photos. The other one, she didn't ever look at the camera. She always had to look down, and she couldn't smile on her wedding day. Now you would think, oh, well, they're both Bangladeshi, but it was different cultures from different villages and different areas. And I was like, how interesting. Do you know what I mean? And things. And so other people were always just like, oh, but I'm just so curious about people. I love psychology. I love like what drives people. I like their stories and that individuality. So for me, the more mixed, the more kind of background stories, like I just love working with different people. So I always said, I'm never going to say I work with men or women or, do you know what I mean, non-binary people. It's just whoever is drawn to me and who likes my way of doing things and, you know, the way that I speak.
I do OBM work, and so I work with so many different business owners, and it's so nice. Like, just like I feel like I know more than the average person about a lot of different things because of my different clients and what they work in. Like, I've got some clients who do fashion design. I've got some who do EFT as a therapy. I've got just like loads of different types, and it's just so nice to be able to kind of just be in little worlds for little pockets of time. It's like for like 2 hours a day, I might be doing something completely different. I might be doing a bit of PR, and then 2 hours for after that, I'll be doing some kind of mental health work. And it's just like, it's so refreshing to just be doing something different.
But you know, when you just think, how lucky are you though that you get paid, but also you're getting paid to learn from these people as well, really, when you think about it. Because as much, like I say, as I'm teaching them what I know, I've got to learn about them and what they do. And I'm like, oh my God, what a privilege, like that I actually get paid to do this. Like, and you know, when you're just like, it is so nice. And like, as much as people think, oh, well, coaches, like coaches, do you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I've got such a mixed group of clients that have got so many different modalities. And like one of them I hadn't even heard of before I started working with her. And you know, when you're just like, this is what I like. So when people say, who do you work with? That's why I say basically online service providers, because it is that wide. If you've got a business that's online and you provide a service, I can help you, because it's, no matter what your modality is, it's the same sort of setup, if you know what I mean, like as in like what we need to do. Because I'm very much like a case of I keep business simple. Like you need to be able to build an audience. You need an offer that somebody actually wants to buy, and you need to be able to sell it. Do you know what I mean? It's that simple. So if you think it doesn't matter what you do, that's what we're working on, is those things. So that's why I like just having that. And like when people were like, niche down, I was just like, no, I am not. Well, some people it works really well for because of what they do, and it's like it fits, but other people it doesn't. And I was like, I'm not going to niche. I'm going to say what I actually fix, what I do, rather than niche into who I help. Because I was just like, I'm sorry, but if I start going down that route, I'm like, it's going to be against everything that I go for. But I have helped other people successfully niche when it works for them. Because like I say, some people it's great. Other people, it's just like, it's like putting them in a box, and it's the worst thing you can do to them.
Yeah, I don't like being put in a box. I hate it. Nah. So where do you think this entrepreneurial spirit came from? Is it like something you always wanted to do when you were little, when you were growing up in the Northeast?
Oh God. So I grew up, like I say, Humsoft. And for people that don't know it, it's this tiny little village. It's north of Hexham. And like when I grew up, there was no buses on a Sunday. Like literally, you got the first bus was like 7:15 in the morning, and the last one it was 5:15 at night. So do you know what I mean? Like yeah, exactly. So like you were just stuck in the middle of nowhere the whole time. And so growing up, I didn't actually want to do anything for a living. All I knew is I needed to make money to buy a car. That was my whole thing. I just need a car. All I wanted to do was drive. So on my 17th birthday at 10 o'clock in the morning, I had a 2-hour driving lesson because I was just so like, I need to escape this place. So I got into uni when I finished school, but I decided to defer. And so I got my first job, which was an apprentice at $6,000 a year. I was like, how I afforded a car on $6,000 a year, I do not know. But anyways, so I worked in hotels. And I worked my way up through hotels, and at 25, I became a hotel manager. But no matter what I achieved, like whatever I was doing, I was like, why am I miserable? Why am I not happy? Like other people were like, oh, you're doing so well and you're doing really well in your career. And I was just like, God, like who the hell came up with the idea that you have to ask when you can have your holidays? Like who came up with the idea that you only get 4 weeks off, like, and tell you have to be here between those hours and you've got no choice about it? I was like, this is not... But you know, when you're just like, I just don't fit. And like all these other people were like dead happy. Like my friends were just like, oh, it's just life, it's fine. And I was like, what's wrong with this? Like, is there something actually wrong with me? Like, why am I not happy when everybody else is? And so I beat myself up. But at 25, I was just like, right, I have had enough of this. Like, I can't do it. So I packed in my hotel management job. I got a job at Egger. So Egger's a big chickboard factory at Hexham where like it employs 90% of Hexham. And I got a job doing admin there so that I was working through the day, and I was like, I'm going to set my own business up. And everybody that I knew looked at it as like I had 5 heads. They were just like, what the hell? Like nobody had a business. Nobody knew, you know, they were like, why are you packing your career in? I had zero support from anyone. And I was just like, I'm doing this. So back then there was like a little, I mean, you've got a business factory and things now, but there was like this little place in Hexham that was like a business centre. And I walked in there and was just like, hello, 25 years old. I just want to set a business up, please. Thinking that they'd just laugh us out the door. And they were actually really helpful, helped us get some grants and things, helped us with business planning. And I was just like, oh, this is good, this. So that's when I met people, obviously, that had their own businesses. And I started to feel like I actually fit into this world. Like, I'm not the only one that feels like this, and it felt like, you know, corporate world and having a day job and things just was like the worst thing in the world. And I started to go, this is actually where I'm meant to be. These are my people. And I think like, this is probably controversial to some people, but I think 99% of entrepreneurs are on the spectrum somewhere because we don't fit into normal life. And we're probably not diagnosed, but most of us are on there somewhere. Like I have autistic tendencies, and I know I have. I'm very like, because I'm very logical minded, you know what I mean? Like I go down a rabbit hole. I'm very fixated on things. I'm very particular, like off on a tangent, but I've got something called ARFID, which is a sensory food disorder. And I'm very funny with smells, tastes, textures. And that's like on the spectrum. I was 42 when I was diagnosed with that. So like all of that. But I think like when you're in the like business world and you meet all these people who are ADHD or autistic or anywhere, you know what I mean? They've got all these different things on the spectrum. And you're actually like, this is where I fit in, because it's all right to be weird. It's all right not to be like the norm. Do you know what I mean? And not to conform to what you're meant to do. And so I just went off on, you know, but I was a bit weird as well because I never wanted kids. So like I always, like people were like, oh, you're not going to do the normal thing of like, you know, settle down, get married, have kids and all that. I was like, no, don't want kids. So like I've always pushed, like, but like pushed convention, if you know what I mean. So like, yeah, I think like being in business, like that on like the online space that I've found specifically and the communities, like I lost a lot of friends and family, if you know what I mean, because they didn't understand, they didn't get it. Whereas now I've got like an online family, I've got like that different community, and like they just accept you for who you are, and there's no questions asked, and it's so nice. But yeah, it was like, say, it was like just taking that initial step to go, this world isn't right for me. And I don't know where the idea to start a business came from. That's the honest truth. Literally one day I just went, I'm going to start a business, and that was it.
I had a similar thing actually, because I was in corporate, but I was in like quite a long time. I got a bit stuck, and I always said, even from starting, I would be like, I don't like this. I want to own my own business. I don't know what I want to do, but I want to just own my own business. And it was something that was just always there, and I don't know why, where it came from, or what it was, who put it there, but it was just, I knew that wasn't the world for me. I don't know whether it was just me being a bit more blindfolded when you're in corporate, but I always felt like I couldn't see other people owning their own business. So I was like, well, how the hell am I going to do it? But then when I'd done it, like this whole new world kind of appeared, and I'm just like, where have all of you people been? Like there's so many of you now, like, and I know obviously like it's probably bigger now than it was 10 years ago. It's a little bit easier, we've got access to a lot more things. So yeah, in reality it's probably a bigger pool of people, but I honestly just couldn't see anyone in the early days. Have you seen that? Like, you've been doing it much longer than me. Have you seen it evolve and get bigger over the time?
Yeah, and connection, because obviously, so if you think 2005, there was no smartphones. Smartphones hadn't been invented. The iPhone didn't exist in 2005. You just had your normal phone. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a bit of an aside at that, a funny story, because I went to a business meeting and somebody pulled out his phone, and back then these were new. And I went, "Ooh, is that one of them new Blueberries?" Yes, it was a BlackBerry, but there's me, young kid. So this is me in a serious business meeting as well. So this bloke literally just looked at me and he went, "A BlackBerry," and I was like, "Yes, that's the one." But anyway, so that's like, I was always like, oh my God, mortified. Like that was like back then. So if you think, like, I had to pay $2,000, thinking this is, like I said, 2005, $2,000 to have my website built, because there was no WordPress, there was no, like, do you know what I mean, like Shopify, anything like that. So my first website was an e-commerce site, and that cost me, like, say, $2,000 to get somebody to build it. Like, and they had to teach me how to use the back end so I could add new products and things. And it was so clunky. But Facebook was around, but it wasn't like huge. Like, you know what I mean? It was a different world. Like now, I just like get so amazed by people because, like, they're like, "Oh my God, posting on social media every day." And I'm like, 20 years ago, if somebody said to me I could have a free advert in the newspaper every single day, yes, please. Hello. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, look at the opportunities you've got. Like, it feels like it's another thing to do, but when you change it that way, of like, it's free advertising, like all of these things we've got now in the online world can be overwhelming. But if we pull it back in and simplify it and look at it of like how it works and like what we can do with it, and if you change your mindset around it, like the opportunities, like how we can reach out. Like today, I sat and had conversations with 20 different people via voice notes through LinkedIn, through Instagram, through Facebook. And I'm having 20 different conversations with people all around the world. Like, it's just what? Like,
isn't it?
do you know what I'm thinking? Like 20 years ago, this little girl sitting in like Hexham, do you know what I mean, setting up her own business, who got to go to the arena wedding fair thinking, oh my God, do you know what I mean, the arena wedding fair, we get 10,000 people through the door over a weekend, like, woohoo. Like now I'm like, I'm let loose to millions. It's the community for me, like finding your people online. Like there's people I've never met in person, but I would trust them with my life because we've built up that relationship online. Because if you think like us sitting now, talking away, like, this video messaging and stuff, again, I love in-person connection, don't get me wrong, I really do. But for the time that we've got, for the lives that we live and things, like having this video calls and stuff, like, God, if I could have done that for all my customer meetings years ago, would have been so much easier for them and me. So I just think like, yeah, the amount of change in 20 years, like what we're going through now with AI, like the revolution with it is the biggest thing really since the internet came out. And we're going to live, like, so you'll remember what it was like when the internet became like this thing, because obviously I grew up with no internet. And like I got my first computer at 21 at home. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's that thing now, and I'm like going, we've got to get excited about it. We've got to get curious and we've got to embrace it, because like now the next couple of years are just going to be like immense. Like unbelievable. And I think like I say, just for what I've seen in the online business world for 20 years, I'm like, oh God almighty, the next 2 years, I think will leapfrog the amount of change in 20 years, just in 2 years. It'll just be unreal.
Like my husband said that because he works in like tech stuff, and like because we sometimes just have a bit of a laugh, because like the things that we grew up with, our girls are just mortified by it. They're just like, they can't imagine not having X, Y, and Z. And like, you can see the horror on their face. And we were laughing the other day, like just like when we were young, telephone, like I had one of those ones that had the giant front, and now I'm charging my phone, which is basically a mini computer, with my sofa, and I'm like, who the hell am I? And like, what time do I live? It's just bizarre.
So
it's just so funny.
So we just bought a new car. We bought a BYD, which is one of these new Chinese ones. And they are built in China by AI. So it's AI robots that build your entire car. Our car is 99% automatic everything. Like you can voice control it. You literally just talk to it and it does everything. The only thing you have to do is steer. And even with that, it's got the lane assists and everything. So like half the time you'll think them all do it. And it's like all this. And I think, God, my first car didn't even have bloody power windows. Do you know what I mean? You had to like
no power steering.
no power steering. It had, honestly, it was like a little goldfish bowl. It was a Kia, but Kia before Kia was fashionable. It was this little square box. And like, I just think, oh my God, like the differences with things. And then it blows my mind that all these little robots built our car, that there was very little human interaction. Do you know what I mean? That built that car. And like I say, it just does everything. And then like, you've got obviously like self-driving cars are being brought to the UK this year. You've got robots out in like China who are doing housekeeping duties. So they're changing beds, they're doing dishes. Like, you're just like, where are we going to be next year? Because like all of this stuff is just like, you know, can you remember iRobot? Like that was 1999, iRobot. And you're thinking like, it felt so like it was never going to happen. And now you're just like, bloody hell, we're actually in it. We are in that now.
Yeah, because I've been watching a lot of films like were made in like the 80s and stuff that were like the future, and some of the similarities actually are really quite scary. And I remember watching them when I was little and I was like, oh, that's amazing. But like I suppose I just thought that those things would never happen. But now we're like in it, if not further along. And it's like, I do find it funny. Like sometimes I'll just say, I'll write the date down. I'm like, hey, I'm living in 2025. It sounds like I'm in the future.
Well, it was like year 2000, do you know what I mean? When that came out, you were like, that's forever away, that.
Like 25 years ago. Jesus
God,
Christ.
I know.
I make myself feel old here.
Back to the Future and that one with hoverboards and stuff. I said,
I'm still waiting for hoverboards, mind. All the other stuff, like I can give or take.
They've done hoverboards, they've never brought them out. They're not like, so in order to power them and stuff like that, it would be too dangerous, because what you need to create the lift is too powerful to then bring to public. So there is hoverboards about, they're just not public domain.
And the trainers zip up themselves.
Just like,
I just want Biff's almanac so I can get millions.
No, you just need Gina.
You need the time travel. Oh, honestly, I wish I could. Well, I've helped people make quite a bit of money, so it's I'm kind of like, I stopped playing the lottery and stuff like that, because I went, you know what? It's like you're more likely to be able to make your own money than you are win it, and you've got more control over it. And so, like, it is a possibility. I've seen people, like, I always say to people, just remember it's going to take a while. Like, you're never going to get overnight. But I've seen people literally kind of spend 2-3 years really building their business, and then go from making like 20-30 grand a year in their third or fourth year to going and hitting like 500 grand in year 5. Do you know what I mean? Because they've got all of the basics in place, they've done all of the work, and then they're ready to scale, and they can scale quite quickly. And it's like, I see it. Like, I know people that have gone from thousands and thousands in debt to literally having millions in the bank. And it's that thing, people think it's overnight success, but they don't see all the work behind the scenes and what's been going on. Like, there's one lad, and I was just like, where the hell have you come from? And he's like, I've been around for 7 years. And I was like, God, I didn't hear from you. Like, didn't know you existed until the beginning of this year. And I was like, we've both been in the same industry all that time, and I'd never heard of him. And then now he's blooming everywhere. Like, every time I turn around, I'm like, bloody hell, Matt, you're here again. Like, what the hell? But, you know, when you're like going, that's what overnight success really is. 7 years of hard graft to him now just being like absolutely astronomical.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most people don't see it. And I think that's why a lot of people tend to give up as well quite quickly, don't they? Because they think that they can just do a few things on social media and it's going to come like that. Like the amount of work that goes into these things. And I think a lot of people have this preconception of that because you've got the internet that you just stick out a couple of videos and you stick out a couple of social media posts and then jobs are good and then you're making millions. And it's like, good God, if it was like that, bloody hell, it would be so much easier. Well, I think all three of us know it's definitely not that.
The thing is, you can do it really fast if you've got some money. I sort of say to people, at the end of the day, you either have to put in a lot of time or you have to put in a lot of money. Because if you've got a lot of money, you can then outsource stuff, you can pay people, you can get there a lot faster. And I have seen people build like a multi-6-figure business in a year, but they've front loaded about 50-60 grand to get them going. Because like I say, they've gone to people who know what they're doing, they've built things, and like they've spent 6 months working on something and paying all that money to get everything going to then go. But it's like, that's not the reality for a lot of people. And so if they see that, but it's about that honesty with people. Because I say, like, if people come to me and say, look, I just don't want to work all the hours, I'm like, right, that's absolutely fine. We can still build a business in limited hours, but you've got to be realistic with the time frame and with the amount that you can earn in that time. And if you're willing to put, say, 25 hours a week in, and you're willing to wait 2 years before you're hitting big figures, you can get there, but you're not going to hit those big figures in the first year because you haven't, you know what I mean? It's everything takes time. You've got to build the foundations, and it's about managing people's expectations, because I think too many people talk about like all the, you know, here's what I made this week, you know what I mean? Showing their bank statements or their Stripe invoices and things. And it's just like, yeah, but what have you done behind that? And then how much of that's ad spend? How much of that's gone on affiliates? How much of that's like being paid out in commissions? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's that actually cost? Because that's the what's come in, but what's your actual your profit on it? Because that's the other thing people don't show. It's like, oh, like I see people going, oh, I've just had like a 6-figure launch, and I'm like, yeah, but I know that you've got affiliates, and the affiliates take 50%. But before you pay them the 50%, you've got to pay all of your like your Stripe fees, which is about between 2 and 3%, plus your VAT registered, so you're losing 20% of that. And like before you know it, it's like that 6-figure launch is suddenly less than a quarter.
£500.
But that's the reality, like, you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm very much a case of, it's not like I want to burst people's bubbles and say it's not possible. I'm just like, look, you can do it, but I want you to know what the real the real story is, because then if you know the realities, when you're in that shithole at the bottom, I call it like that messy middle, the excitement at the start's all gone bleh, because all the excitement, nothing's happening, and you feel like you're doing all of this work and nothing's happening. It's like that messy middle. It takes a while before you start seeing the results out the other side. And it's when you're in that little shithole going, oh my God, I'm working and nothing's happening, that's when you need to know those realities, and that's normal. And that actually, you know what I mean? It is going to come. It just takes that perseverance, because that's when most people give up. Like 6 months to 18 months in, that's that real hellhole part that is really, really hard, because you just feel like I'm working my arse off and nothing's happening. Nobody knows who I am. Like, I'm making a few sales here and then, but I never know when they're going to come. Like, I'm constantly worried. Do you know what I mean? And like, it's a horrible, horrible thing. And I think if more people can talk about the normality of it, that's when then people aren't going to feel like they need to give up, because they're not going to think it's them. They're going to know that that's normal, that like we'll all go through it.
Yeah, dose of realism is what we need, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard graft, but I wouldn't go back to being employed again. What the hell?
The thing is, I find like the Northeast is like, it's got like I find we have like a badge of honor for hard work. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm like, I want to balance that, because I'm very anti-hustle. I don't believe in hustle. And like, I also try and say, like, look, I know we've all been like, you know, we've got the stories of our granddads and, you know, going down mines and stuff, and, you know, like hard work, you've got to work hard for everything you've got. And that is like a very, very Northeast mentality. And I'm like, you do have to work, but you don't have to burn yourself out. You don't have to work like 90-hour weeks. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's being realistic. It's balancing building your business with still having a life and still enjoying it. Because if you start burning too much and like working too much, it shows in your business as well. And that's what I find a lot of the time when I work with like people in the Northeast, is they feel guilt for not working like 70, 80 hours. And they're like, but I'm building my business, I've got to do this. And it's like, but you don't, because like, if you actually give yourself a little bit of downtime, that's when the ideas come. That's when actually clarity comes. That's when you start thinking better. You then turn up to work the next morning feeling more refreshed. So you actually get more done by working less at times. And they're like, oh, and like they find that's the thing. But it's this massive badge of honor of like, you know, how many, like, I don't know whether you found it in corporate, but when I worked in hotels, oh, I did 70 hours last week, or I did 40 hours overtime last week. And like, they're proud of it. And I used to be like,
competition.
Like, yeah. And it's like, and I was always like, God, I hate the fact that I live half of my life in the hotel. Do you know what I mean? That I never get to go home. And like, I was that opposite. And that is one thing I'm saying the Northeast. I also find like it's mining communities mostly, like, so anybody from like South Wales and stuff tends to have that. Do you know what I mean? It's like ingrained into us, like from a very young age of like, you've got to work hard for everything you've got. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not about hard work, but hard work doesn't mean working hours and hours and hours. It's about making the most of the time, and what you're putting in, making real use of that time. Do you know what I mean? And making sure that what you're doing actually works, rather than just work. Because I do find, like, honestly, I've had a couple of clients from Newcastle, and when I've looked at what they're doing, I'm like, right, we can get rid of about 80% of that. And they're like, what? And it's like, seriously, you don't need to be doing half of this stuff. And then they're like, oh, but what will I do instead? Because they're so used to just go.
Sit down.
It's like, why don't you like go to the cinema, go out for a meal, go and see your family? And they're like, oh, I don't get to do that. I'm like, with my permission and my blessing, go and do that. I promise you're going to love it.
It is true though, like I found myself like not necessarily like saying it, but thinking it. Like I'd be like, God, I'm so lucky. Like I can work at home, I can sit on my sofa, stick a film on, pull my laptop out and get some work done. And like my granddad would be grafting down the mines, and like you might like be injured, or like some of his friends died, like, and you go back to that because it's so close to like like in a couple of generations maybe that'll be gone, like from the mining communities, but I think because it's still so close to us, and it being our some of our parents and my grandparents worked down the mines, that it's still in our psyche to be like, I should feel I'm so lucky because I don't need to do this, therefore I need to like try and make something hard so that I feel worthy, because the amount of stuff that they had to put up with to bring so little home. And then like it's a weird kind of connection back to it, and I can only hope it does diminish, because it's like it's not a nice feeling to feel like you've got to find some way to struggle in a way. Like it's like you feel guilty for things just being easy and things being enjoyable. You've got to find something that's difficult with it.
But if you think in schools still now, kids, get your head down, work hard, get your grades, go to university, go and get a job, work hard, like get yourself up the ladder, work hard to get a promotion, work hard to do this, and you're just like, do you know what? Where's the what do you actually want out of your life? What enjoyment do you want? What do you enjoy doing outside of work? That work can still give you that, but find a job that actually lets you have a life around it. Like, and if you don't want to go for promotion after promotion after promotion, that's all right as well. If you don't want to go to uni and you want a different job, like career path, that's all right. If you don't want a career and you want to have your own business, or some people who are literally just happy to get a job at Tesco's or wherever and sit on the checkouts and make enough money for them to have the lifestyle that they want, like everything's all right. I hate this, like what gets fed into kids now of like, you've got to follow this path. And I'm just like, and if you don't want to do that path, there's something wrong with you. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not saying don't try and get good grades, but like so many kids, academics just doesn't work for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I just think like that's the problem. It's fed from like when you're 4. And it is like beaten into you, like you get it. And if you think you used to get it at school and then you came home and your mom and dad, have you done your homework? Go and do your homework, go and study, go and like revise. Have you got a test tomorrow? You revise. And it's just constant. And it's like, I don't remember my parents like go and get yourself outside and go and play. Do you know what I mean? Or anything like that. It was just like, get your head down. So it's things like that. I think like we've got to accept that there's so many different paths now as well. And if I'd been shown different paths, then I wouldn't have felt like on my own when I went to set up. Like I would have known those other things. And now what you were saying about like so many more people, I think like now kids realise a bit more that there's a bit of a wider world, but there's still a huge amount of people that don't know our kind of community, and their kids that, like my sister's a teacher, and my niece went to uni, became a teacher, and my nephew, he's 13 now, and he loves like drama and theatre and performance and things like that. And I was like, well, you might not want to go to uni. My sister, who's going to uni? I was like, well, what happens if he doesn't want to? He's going. And I was like, but what if he doesn't want to? Tough. I was like, really? I was like, but if he wants to go into musical theatre, he doesn't have to get a degree in performing arts. Like if he didn't want to, which was like, he's going, that's it. And I was like, how many kids are in that position?
Yeah, my husband was like that. He's known people that have been forced down the university route, where he didn't go to university. He'd done like apprenticeships and things like that. And actually, in some instances, he's like higher up the career ladder than them. So like, it really depending on what career you're wanting to do, like what are your interests, what are your likes, what do you enjoy learning about. Sometimes university isn't the best option. I mean, he earns more than me, and I went to university. Like,
well, I laugh because my sister, obviously, she's a teacher. She's got a master's. And when I had my wedding venue, I was earning, what, trying to think, 10, maybe 11 times more her salary.
It doesn't automatically equal success and more money, does it?
And then let's face it, when you go to university, look at how much debt you're in as well.
Yeah.
Well, now you're very unlikely to ever pay it off. It's that bad now. But yeah, and I was just like, yeah, it's just things like that. Like, I kind of go, I want people to know about this world of things, and the fact that like you don't have to just do that traditional route, and it doesn't mean that your life's gonna blooming fall apart, you know.
Yeah.
And like I say, that work ethic, don't get us wrong, I've got a massive work ethic, but I know when to stop. I know like my boundaries and things, and you know, it's balancing, creating that lifestyle, creating your, like, growing your business, but with still living and enjoying things, like, because otherwise, like I said, what's the point if you're not enjoying it?
I was going to ask you a question about you talked about AI and it speaking Geordie to you. You'd mentioned that in your little notes at the beginning. So I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about that.
So obviously everybody blames AI for the crap that they see on the internet that is badly written. But my whole thing is with AI, it's about the human behind it. So it always starts with a human. AI is not, you know, even agentic AI, you've got to start it somewhere with a human. And I was like, you've got to train AI to sound like you at the end of the day. So it's got to be trained on how you speak. And so I developed a program that teaches people how to teach AI to sound like you. And it uses, so you're using transcripts and things. So obviously I'm not really, like, I am Geordie, but I don't use loads and loads of Geordie phrases, but I use some things, and like shy Ben's getting out and things I use quite a bit. And so what I did was I've trained it to use all the Geordieisms, I've got to call them Gina-isms, that I use, and it knows. So like, but it also, because I kind of told it like, right, when we're speaking, because I call him Bob, my chat GPT is called Bob. And so I'm like, right, Bob, when I'm speaking to you, you can use really like stupid Geordie with me and be over the top. So you'll literally be like in the morning and be like, why, hi, Gina, how are you doing today? Do you know what I mean? And things. And so like, but he knows when we're talking to other people to use my words and but rein it in a little bit. So like if we're using things like if I say shy Ben's getting out, it'll then quickly say in brackets afterwards if it's written something. Do you know what I mean? Just like going, for those of you that don't speak Geordie, this is what it means, sort of thing. And so I was like, it needs to have your personality, because if you're using AI to create stuff, it's got to know what to do. But then you train it so you go, when I'm writing a sales page is not going to be in Geordie. Do you know what I mean? But when I'm writing social posts or emails, it's got to sound like me. So yeah, so he now knows all these different Geordie like colloquialisms, and he knows what Alvida saying pet is, and like literally I've like, so literally, but you can tell, so AI is obviously always trained on the past, but you can say, so I went in and I says, can you go and find episodes of Alvida saying pet, is there any transcripts or anything? And then I was like saying like, you know, who to look for and stuff, and I was like, you know, they're going to sort of speak, so I was like, you know, these are the Geordie characters, and I was like, so you can learn stuff and it can go away and like do deep research into it and learn.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to get it to start looking at old Biker Grove.
Oh my God. Chat GPT.
So I met, there's a guy called John Lee who is really huge in AI, and I was at this event and he did a speech on AI, like his talk, and he blew my brains away, like honestly. So after the event, I went up and I was like, right, I need to talk to you. And he's like, oh, you're from Newcastle? I was like, yeah. And he was like, do you remember a program called Biker Grove? I was like, He went, I was in that. I was like, no. He was like, I used to live in Newcastle. So AI went out the window and we just started talking all about Spuggy and everybody. And Biker Grove, and he was like, oh, is this still there? And is that? And he was like, I haven't been up to Newcastle for ages. I was like, right, you need to come back up. And we were talking about like all the changes in Newcastle. I was like, I was meant to be picking your brains on AI. I was like, you were in Biker Grove? He's like, yeah, I did about 5-6 episodes. I was like, oh God, I'm going to have to find you now.
Going on YouTube trying to find
him. I was like, oh my God, but he's this multi-7-figure blooming business owner who flies all over the world. And like, I'm like, you were in Biker Grove?
God.
Yeah, that wasn't on the bingo card.
You know, when you're like, I'm in London, do you know what I mean? And he's like, straight away, oh, you're from Newcastle. I was like, I kind of hide it.
I think that's mad being able to do that. And just being able to create like a Geordie thing. I never even thought of doing that actually.
It's so basically there's ways of programming it. So what I do is with my program, it's a case of there's lots of things like, so I've set up prompts and you put different things through the prompts and it pulls different information out and it makes like a brand playbook for you. So then it knows exactly all about your business, but all about how you speak, words you use, you don't, like what your offers are, and you basically pull that all together. And then when you're creating things within like AI, so whether you say create a custom GPT to make your, like, say your LinkedIn posts, you can then embed that document into the custom GPT, so it's always referring to it. Or if you use projects, you can load it into projects. Or even if you're just doing individual prompts and you want to use it, obviously you can attach it to that and say refer to the brand document. If you're making like workflows, so like when you use the AI workflows, you can run it through. So like whenever it makes anything, it can run through that to check off your brand. So like it just means that you're not starting from scratch every time. And once you've got that playbook, you've got something. So like then all of your stuff just starts to sound the same, like as in for you. So you've got that consistency across your brand on all of your, like everything that you do. But obviously you can give it constraints as well. But yeah, but it's just all about having, like, obviously you having podcasts is perfect because you can basically just upload transcripts of what you say within the podcasts and get it to analyze it, and it'll basically tell you exactly what your flow is like, what type of words you use all the time, like any like things that you say, like, you know what I mean? Like I say, if Shy Ben's getting out, things like that, I can pull all those out, like what tone you use, like how friendly you are, if you're very bold, if you're assertive, if you're like, you know what I mean? All those things. And it just analyzes it all.
Wow, that's
I
amazing.
don't think I want to know. Like maybe I get really self-conscious about how I talk and what I sound like. It'll probably be like, Hayley, you sound bloody miserable.
It told me I sounded like Oprah Winfrey. I was like, what?
Hey, that's not bad.
I wouldn't mind that money.
I know. Or a house in Hawaii, because I've seen that. So that was
yes. Oh, no. That sounds dead interesting because I get really stuck with my like social media content because with my line of business, there's not much really that you can kind of talk about other than regurgitate the stuff that I've got on there. And it's getting to the point now where I'm starting to like regurgitate stuff. So I'm like, I might have to try that.
What is it you do?
Massage therapist.
Right. So you will be unreal how many things you can talk about. So if you think, right, you could go in to AI and go to deep research. Have you got the paid AI? So the 20 quid subscription?
Yeah.
So you've got deep research, yeah? So
you know,
yeah. So if you where you put your little chat prompt in, there's a little plus. And if you click the plus, it brings things up, and one of them is called deep research. And if you go into there, you could say, right, I'm a massage therapist. This is what I do. Can you find me 10 hot topics that's happening within my industry this month that's been in the news, that's being talked about? What's the hot topics? And it can bring you up 10 things that is going on within massage therapy in the UK at the minute, all these hot topics. And then there you go. There's easily a couple of weeks content for you.
Oh, a nice one.
Or if you've got posts that have done really well, you can get a post that's done really well. You can go to AI saying, this post's one of my best performing ones. I want to repurpose this post. Can you put a new spin on it and rewrite it so that it's still given kind of similar information that's up to date, but write it in a different way so that then it can because at the end of the day, we do regurgitate a lot of stuff, but you can just ask it to repurpose it for you.
Right. I never thought of doing that. My brain doesn't work like that, you see.
This is the strategist, and is it just like literally I automatically go like with everybody, it's like, right, what's your business? And then I can come up with like 1,000 ideas in about 5 seconds of things that you can do. This is what I do all the time, and people are just like, how? And I'm just
I'm gonna have to contact you, Gina. I might need your help.
I can literally things like that are so like I say, don't get stuck on ideas. We can get you loads of ideas.
Great, I'll be in touch with you, Gina.
You don't need your version of Bob, you just need Gina.
I just need Gina, yeah.
One of my clients calls us Yoda. She's just like,
Oprah, Yoda.
I know. She was like, I'm not saying you're green and wrinkly, but you've got so much knowledge. And I was like, I'm not taking it as an insult.
You need it should be Oracle. You're the Oracle. That's better.
It was just one day, she was just like, no, you're Yoda. I was like, excellent. It's like green, wrinkly, and hairy. That's lovely.
As long as you don't talk like Yoda, like back to front.
Oh God, that would. Do you know what? I never watched Star Wars until I met my husband. So like literally, I've never ever watched it, and now I've only watched them once. It's his favorite thing, and he puts it on. And I'm like, right, I'm away. I was like, this is not for me.
Oh
no, it's like true crime, gritty true crime. Yes, Star Wars, no. Like I say, I'm psychology, criminology, and all of that. So true crime. I read like books that have been written by like past detectives. One that I read is like he's a passport like court reporter. So like he knows all of the things that happened, but they write like obviously books all on true crime. And like LJ Ross, have you heard of LJ Ross?
Yeah.
The Northeast one. So like read
we
all of her books.
Podcast. Come on. We need her on the podcast.
Yeah, well, I've read all of her books and that. So yeah, anything true crime. Like I'm watching 24 Hours in Police Custody at the minute. If I wasn't squeamish, that's one thing I think I would have probably been like to do is be a traffic cop. But like I don't like blood and I don't like sick.
A lot of squished things.
If you think the two things traffic cops deal with a lot of is blood and sick, so I was just like, no, that's not for me then.
Yeah, I've got a couple of friends who've been traffic cops, and some of the stories I've heard, I definitely could not do that. But I done forensic science at university, so I've always been interested in it. And it's like, I love all the gore and stuff like that, but even that's my limit. And
have you heard of Network Not Work? It's got so they're Newcastle, Durham, Hartlepool. It's a in-person networking event. It's free to go along to, and I got invited to go and speak there. So yeah, Network Not Work they're called, and they've got every month, and they're honestly so lovely. But I went in, I was talking to different people, and I was talking to one of these guys, like one of the guys that was there, and I was like, oh, so like you haven't done this forever? And he was like, no, he was like, I used to be a forensic photographer. I was like, oh my God, that's it. I literally quizzed him for about half an hour all about it. Crime scenes, what he'd seen, everything. I was like, just tell me all of it. I was like, literally, people were coming over going, what are you talking about? It was like, true crime. And they were just like, what? I was like, at a business event. I'm like, yeah, sod everything else. I was like, I need to know. 30 years as a forensic photographer. I was like, I need to know this.
The things he's probably seen. Ugh.
Oh, but really interesting. But yeah, so like if anybody, like I say, Network Not Work, really lovely. It was free networking, really nice people. I actually really enjoyed that. And they do them all over, like I say. So, but yeah, so he just made us like kill myself laughing. So I was just like, yeah, we'll not talk about anything that I do. I just want to know about you.
I would have been exactly the same. Right, Angela, should we dive into the quick fire questions?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, first question then, Gina. It's a hard one, mind. Ant or deck?
Oof, deck. I used to live next door to his sister.
Ah, did you?
Oh, there you go. Tedious link. Well, it's not even tedious, it's a link. Next one. What is your favourite local dish?
Oh, you see, I'm really fussy. Probably, I mean, I call it bubble and squeak, but is it pan haggerty? It's kind of known as.
Yeah. Well, same thing, isn't it?
But I call it bubble and squeak, but that's kind of local-ish. Like, I don't like blooming, people would say like the local blooming fish or something, and I don't like fish. So, like, to be honest, I prefer Stowell Street, if that's counted, Chinese on Stowell Street.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really a local dish, but we'll go with that. I always used to love, because I used to go to uni in Newcastle, and I used to go there on Friday with my friends to Stowell Street, and I think we used to pay like $5 and get so much. Like, it was just like the buffet and plate piled high. I mean, student, you're just absolutely loving life, aren't you? But I miss Stowell Street, love it.
Like the Cramlington Chinese does it all you can eat buffet, but it's you order it. So it's a little bit more expensive, but you can order like, so it is a buffet, but it's delivered to your table, if you go know what I mean. It's freshly cooked. Oh my God, honestly, the food there, because you're getting lots of different dishes, but because it's freshly cooked, you know what I mean? It's not been standing everywhere, like the standard of food. And oh my God, can I get through some food there?
Oh, you make me want a Chinese.
Me too. Right. Next one. Your top spot to visit in the Northeast.
Oh, God, that's the one.
The
Probably.
Chinese.
No, I would say Tynemouth, because I used to live in a flat right on Tynemouth, like basically above Subway in Tynemouth. And so I had a view out the front and the back, like sea views. And I absolutely bloody loved living there. So I would say going back to Tynemouth, because I just think like you've got everything there.
Oh, so nice, isn't it? And I love just going to Tynemouth Market. Like, it's so cute.
Oh, I used to sell stuff there. I used to sell handmade jewellery at the market.
Oh, probably seen you loads of times.
Yeah.
There about 5 million jumpers. Place on earth.
Next one. This is the one I ask everybody. What is your go-to Greggs order?
Oh, you see, I'm boring. It's got to be like a corned beef pasty. Apart from you're not allowed to call it that anymore, because he asked for a corned beef pasty and they're like, what? I'm like, meat and potato bake or whatever the hell it is these days. I don't know. When I lived in Essex, I went into the Greggs that I lived in Colchester, and I walked in and I asked them for a meat and potato pasty, and they were just like, what? And I was like, do you know corned beef bake? And they were like, what's one of them? They don't do them in Colchester. I was gutted. I lived there for nearly 2 years and I couldn't get one.
Oh God. Corned beef and tea.
I think that's what really annoys me about Greggs though. It's like it is quite regional, and I never understood that. Like, because I moved down to West Yorkshire, and like one of my favourite things is like a mince pie from Greggs. Nice warm mince pie. So kind of get it here.
So I used to run a wedding and events venue. So I had a company that ran a wedding and events venue, and we had Greggs come for a conference, and it was all the regional managers and the big directors. So obviously from all over the country. So we decided, much to my chef's dismay, to make Greggs food for them. So like making meat and potato pasties and like sausage rolls, and we did ham and peas pudding stotties and stuff, and we did all of this. Half of the managers, because they were all from down south, they were like, what the hell's that sandwich? And I'm like, it's ham and peas pudding. And they were like, what? And what's it in? I was like, a stotty. And they were like, what? I was like, you work for Greggs. I was like, you should be sacked. And then one of the big bosses from Greggs was like, can you ask your chef for one of his recipes? Because I really like it. So we fed about 100 people from Greggs and they bloody loved it. I was like, get in. So we did a proper Northeast Greggs dinner for them.
Get in.
Haven't you?
Yeah, honestly.
Absolutely cat in his pants.
I can imagine.
I know. Right, last question, Gina. What does Geordie Pride mean to you in 3 words? Not the podcast, but just Geordie Pride in general.
Oh, God. 3 words. Oh, God, you need like 100. It's like, do you know what? Friendly, inclusive, and welcoming. Like, that's who we are.
For me, when I think about stuff like that, it automatically goes down to just how friendly people are, like, and how canny people are. Like, you'll go out for a walk and people will just chat to you, no matter if you've seen them before or not. They'll just have a right good night at you. I always go back to that. That's what I love about the Northeast so much.
But you could imagine like 1,001 ways of describing the Northeast, but that's probably the best.
It depends if you're a football supporter or not. I think some of the football supporters will probably say a few different words.
No. It's that thing, isn't it? It's if you're the right colours. It's like you've got to be black and white.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a few anomalies with growing up in Hexham, like in that. There's a few anomalies over there. Like my uncle, massive Sunderland fan. I was just like, how the hell?
Oh, no.
How did you manage that? I was like, the rest of it were all blooming Newcastle fans, and you're a Sunderland fan. And then me cousin, he used to drag me cousin off to the Sunderland matches, and me cousin, you could tell he was just like, I don't want to go.
Oh, no.
Well, that's what I find weird about here. Like, because when I grew up, like everyone supported Newcastle, and because we're from Ashton, so everyone supported Newcastle. There was like maybe a couple of kids supported Man U or something, right? Glory seekers. But like being down here, like my girls go to school in West Yorkshire, and like there's so many people, like so many different teams. There's like Leeds, Man City, Man U, Liverpool, like. And it's like we're the weird ones supporting Newcastle now, and it's
I'm
just like,
just to prove it, sitting. Where is he?
oh, look at that!
And then I don't know whether you'll be able to tip it around enough for King
Oh,
Kev.
okay.
Oh,
You can tell this is my office. If I'm not a true Geordie.
I've got my, you probably can't see it. I'm not a fan. You won't be able to see it from this angle if I kind of move it, but I've got my signed Newcastle United football as well. So yeah, we're true Geordies when we've got football stuff in our office.
Yeah. Oh, well, I used to date one of the players years ago. So,
which one?
Yes. Oh, Lamana Loa. It was back in 2000 I met him. So yes. It was the one that did all the backflips and everything. So,
oh yes.
oh God, I met him. I worked at Dawson and Sanderson in town in foreign exchange, and we did like money transfers, and he used to come in to send money back to like his family. And he came in, and they said, like when I started working there, they said, "Oh, we'll get some footballers." And I was like, "All right." And I was I'm not really into fame. Like I just don't really get the whole thing. And so I was just like, "All right." So he came in one day and like sent some money. And then he came back the next day, and my boss was like, "He's never been in 2 days before." I was just like, all right. They were like, he normally comes in like once a week, if that. And I was just like, all right. And then he came in the third day, and my boss was like, there's something going on. What the hell? And he slipped a little bit of paper because obviously, in the foreign exchange, he slipped a little bit of paper, and he was just like, oh, that's my phone number. He was like, do you want to go out sometime? I was just like, my boss was a massive Leeds fan, and so you had like a couple of like counters and with the glass, and then there was an office that you couldn't see into, but I could see out the corner of my eye, and my boss is in the background like this. I'm like, oh my God, this is embarrassing.
Oh no. So how long were you dating him?
Just 2 years. And then he went to Portsmouth.
Oh, I'm going to have to tell my husband now. He'll love that.
But yeah, so then when I worked up at Slaley Hall, and we used to have all the football teams coming to stay there. We had the England team and stuff. So yeah, I was like football in my blood. Love it.
Love it. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I think it's always in my blood from the northeast, but yours even more so now.
It's one of those, like I say, it's like it was an experience, one that I would say, like, 'cause loads of people were like, you still drive like your car and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I drove his car when I was with him, but then I would just have mine. And I was like, I didn't like some of the way some of the wives and girlfriends and stuff went on, like their attitudes and stuff. Like I'd be out on the actual terraces, like cheering on, and they'd just be sat inside, like not really caring what was happening on the pitch and stuff. And I'd be like, what the hell? Like, yeah. And but that was like kind of, I was just like, I wasn't dating him for who he was. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I really didn't really, but he was quite different in the fact, like he left because he wasn't getting enough games. And he was like, I would prefer to get like £1,000 a week and play every single week than I think he was on like 15 grand a week at that time. And he was like, I'm getting 15 grand a week and I'm sitting on the bench most of the time. And he's like, I get to come on for like 10, 15 minutes. And he was like, I just want to play. So when Portsmouth put like obviously offered for him, he was like, I'm going to get to play more down there. But yeah, he said that he would have just preferred to get paid a lot less and play the game. Then he wasn't like materialistic and stuff. So yeah, that was the difference with him. Like there was a few of them like that though that were more down to earth. There was a few that weren't at all like they were a bit knobbish. But yeah, it was like
no, I need to stop recording.
I was gonna say I could get blooming sued. Some of the things that you find out, but yeah, it was one of those. I was dead young though. Do you know what I mean? It feels like a lifetime ago.
Well, there's a bit of gossip.
Well, the Geordie Pride, here we go. That's like, you can't really get more proud of Geordie.
Exactly. Right, so thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go, is there anything that you want to share, any events or anything, or do you just want to share your website, social media, just so anyone can find you?
Yeah, so obviously with my name, Gina Trick, LinkedIn, you can find us quite easily because there's not many of us. So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm Gina Trick Strategist on Instagram. I am on Facebook, but I don't do loads on Facebook, to be quite honest. So you can find us on those. I'm just ginatrick.com is my website, but I'm very honest, it's not very up to date at the minute. It needs loads of loads of updating. And I would talk about an event, but I've been a traitor and it's down in London. I'm organising an event and it's down in London. I know I've got 8 speakers, and trying to get 8 speakers to travel to the northeast isn't the easiest thing to do. So I've been a traitor and done it down south. But yes, so I have an in-person event called The Edge, which is taking place on the 23rd of April down in London. It's for online businesses basically who are sick of not being seen. That's why it's called The Edge. It's standing out in a crowded market. We've got amazing speakers, networking. You get to come to London town for, the big smoke for a bit. It's Shoreditch, so it's nice and trendy. I've tried to make it in a nice place as well. But yeah, I've got that going on as well. So there's a lot going on.
busy. Lovely. That's great. So I'll put any links that you send over to me, I'll pop them in the show notes.
Wow.
And yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you so much
Excellent.
for joining with Gina. Thank you.
Thanks, Gina.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support Geordie Pride further, then don't forget to subscribe, share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram @Geordie Pride. Until next time, keep that Geordie Pride shining bright.